Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Turk's Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to look at a really cool program within NX called the Structure Designer. For an agenda, we're going to briefly talk about the company I work for, Geometric Solutions, who we are, more importantly, how we can help. Then we're going to jump into our subject, looking at the Structure Designer. We've also have our GotoWebinar Dialog Box. So during the presentation, if you have any questions, just type them in. I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't get to them during, then I'll just follow up with you afterwards. My name is Dan Turk, and I'm an application engineer with Geometric Solutions. Now just briefly, Geometric Solutions, the company I work for, we sell the best-in-class software. That's Siemens Software Solutions. We're part of the larger WALTONEN family of companies. At WALTONEN Engineering, we have over 100 designers and engineers, and they're designing all sorts of different things. At Independence Tooling Solutions, we have a facility where we can make the very things that are being designed. So you could say, whatever your needs are, we've got you covered. The owner of our company, he put it nicely. He said, our ability to successfully partner with our customers comes from our experience in using the tools we sell every day. So it's not that we just sell these tools, no, we actually use them. With that, let's jump into our subject, the NX Structure Designer. Now this is actually a new add-on to NX. But just think about the current way that you were to make a frame or to make a structure. If you take a look at this image to the right, that's pretty typical, isn't it? That you've got an idea of where you want the tubing to go, but is it going to be a miter? Is it going to be a butt joint? Well, we'll figure that out afterwards. But for the time being, what do? It just contains all the space. And we have to do it this way. That way, if we're making any changes, things will update. With the NX Structure Designer, though, we're able to make structural frames in minutes. And it's really an impressive tool. I'm going to jump in and show you how it actually works in just a moment. But essentially, we're just defining the envelope that the frame goes in. And then, with lines and sketches, a couple button clicks, we're going to be able to have that frame completely made. When it comes to the library, well, you'll notice on the screen it says there are over 3,500 unique items. So whatever type of structural frame you're going to need, it's in here. With that, let's jump into our NX. Okay, so here you can see the part that we have. We've got this little machine, and we want to make a cage that goes around this. So I've got a part that's already been created called structure. If I wanted to start the Structure Designer, it's under Applications, Design, Structure Designer. Now it is an add-on, but that's where you find it. And within my part, I have one sketch with just a couple of points. I'm going to go ahead and say that I want a new structure. Now from here, it's asking us a couple of different questions. What's the direction we want it to go in, and so on. I'm then going to say that I want a frame. Now this is pretty interesting. All we're doing is we're defining the 3 points that would make a cube. So 1 point, 2 points, and the third for the height. What's nice about this is I'm able to snap onto the model, onto points, or what have you. And from here I'm just going to click OK. There's the basis of my frame. But I want to take this a bit further. I want my frame to have legs on it. So I'm just going to click Move Curve, and I'll simply move this bottom piece, and I'll maybe take that to 150. So if you're looking at this, that actually becomes a leg. Hopefully you can visualize it. Maybe I want to have a cross brace in here. So I'll just use the copy curve, and I'll put a cross brace. There we go, and close. So there's the skeleton for my frame. At this point, I'm just going to finish it. And nothing's done. Well, that's because we have to define the members. If we look at our tool palette, I can click Member, and it could be set to feature curves. Now, feature curves, of course, that's going to select everything. I'll just click on it just to show. So it selects everything, and I can choose what's the material that I want. So we've got angles, channels, flat bars. We've got this HP. I don't even know what that is. We're going to go with square tube. We're going to say that it's 50 millimeters. And I had an offset in there from earlier. Let me just get rid of that. So just clicking feature curves, that selects everything. I'm just going to hit OK so we can see what we get. Okay, great. In doing that, you can see I've got my tubes. They're mitered on here. But there's no piece that's containing the same space as another. The issue might be, though, that we would say on something like this, we wouldn't want everything to have the exact same 50 millimeter square tubing. Maybe we want to have some of it be a little different. Let me just do an undo. I'm going to click Member again. I'm going to stick with the 50 millimeter square tube, but this time I'm going to choose single curve because I want to just define the pieces that I want on there. So maybe I want the sides at 50, and the cross pieces, maybe I want them different. Just hit OK. And let me put in some cross pieces. But for our purposes, we're going to say instead of 50, we want to go with a little bit smaller. So we're going to go with 25 millimeters. Now notice it's putting a miter in there. So we'll put these pieces in. And good. Okay, so now as we look at this, we can see that the default is that it's going to put a miter in here. And I don't know about you, but that is a really weird looking cut that we have. I don't think we want to have that much of a gap in there. We want to edit this corner so that it's something that's maybe a little bit more realistic to what we would use, not so gappy. It's really easy to do. Edit corner. You'll notice we have these little stars. Here's the nice thing about this. We have these three pieces coming together, and you can change any one of them. So I could say on this piece, I want it to be what we call a smart extend. So it's just going to extend out. And on the next one, I could choose a butt, a cope. I could say none, so it's going to occupy the same space, but why would I do that? And then we also have the ability to move these up and down as we need to. We'll just hit apply. And there we go. That's looking better. I might come over and do the same thing. And essentially the whole way around. There we go. Okay, great. So this is looking really good. And the key is, did you notice how fast we were able to create this? It could be, though, that we say we want to have these pieces that we have here, we want them to be offset. So inset, I should say, a little bit. Well, that's okay. I can click this Edit Members, and I simply choose the member. What's nice about this is I could go in and say I want to change it to something entirely different. So I could change it to a channel. We'll stick with our square tube for now. But I want to have it inset. So I'll just put a little bit of an offset on there. .5. Yep, here we go. And OK. So just that easily, I'm able to move that piece. We'll come over to our next part. Something else we want to show here is that you have the ability to change an origin. Right now, the origin is at this top point. But we could say we want the origin to be at a different point. Maybe right there, or there. You get the idea. It's allowing you to dynamically move your part all around based on the origin that you choose. Once again, though, I'm going to put that offset in there. And good. There's a couple other cool things that you can do with this tool, though. Let's just say that on this particular piece, we like that at the bottoms here, everything is sealed up. And those are going to be welded together. But at the top, we don't really want to have a hole in there. So what we'll do is we're going to use a nice little tool called End Cap. Now, as you can imagine, it's incredibly easy. I pick the face, and here I'm going to zoom in a bit. You'll see it in purple. Do I want it to be inside or outside? So inside is that we're going to take this piece and we're going to put it inside and then weld. Outside is we're going to trim the tube. And you'll notice we have this button to preserve the overall length. That skeleton frame we made is going to stay the same. I'll just stick with inside. There's one cap. Put on another one. And then this time I'll do the other three at the same time. So there's our end caps. And again, couldn't have been easier. Now looking at my part, maybe I want to add a couple of additional braces in here. So I'm just going to add a line. Put a line from one part of that skeleton to the other. And I'll just do that twice. Oops, I didn't hit apply. Let me do that again. I'll put another member in. This time we're going to go with, how about some angle iron? And we'll go with 20 by 20. What's nice about this is if we wanted to do the offset, you actually could do it from here. And with angle iron you can see it better than square tube, but you have the ability to flip your axes around. So you can dial that piece in. And it's easier to see too when we do the select origin and using the angle iron. Put the other piece in as well. Okay. What you can see is it gives us this smart trim. We wouldn't want this piece to go all the way to the end on either side. And with the Structure Designer, it's smart enough to know exactly how to do this, what it should actually look like. There's a couple other things that we can do with the Structure Designer. You can see we can add a gusset. So we can choose different types. We'll just stick with a triangle. Maybe we'll make it 30 by 30. Essentially, we're just choosing the faces that we want it to go on. We can put some offsets in and apply. And of course, you can see we've got a whole variety of gussets to choose from. But you get the idea. It's just really fast that you can put something in that you want. That we're just picking faces and we're letting the software do the rest. So I've got some gussets up there. The last thing we would want to do to our structure is we would need some feet on the bottom of this. We don't want to just put square tubes down there. And this is where we can use the reuse library. So I've got the Structure Designer equipment and some mounting feet. So I'm just going to take that mounting feet and attach it to the bottom of my part. So I have this keyed in already, but we want it to be 100 by 100. Notice the preserve overall length. See, it's going to bump everything up because the skeleton, that overall size, it needs to remain the same. Yep, that's the one we want. And then I'll just go ahead and put these onto the rest. And one more. And done. Now you have to admit, that is incredibly fast, isn't it? That's the cool thing about this tool. It's fast, it's easy to use, and as we had already seen, it's easy to modify. That we could go into any one of these members and change it, and our model is going to update. Even just taking, let's say, the skeleton. That's just this frame piece, and if we wanted to adjust that, because looking at it, I'm going to have a pretty wicked collision right there. It's no problem, because remember, I'm defining the points. So I've got point 1, point 2, point 3, that's the height. So it's currently at 1955. You know, I just snapped off of a point. Maybe I'll take it to 2100. Let's see if everything updates. So far, so good. And voila. So that's the Structure Designer. It's really fast. It's really easy to use. Imagine how long it would have taken you to do the exact same thing we're doing, but just with regular modeling. And then you found out there was a little collision, and so you had to update everything. Literally, you'd have to update everything, right? Let's take it a step further, though. I'm going to go into drafting. And I'm just going to put in an isometric view. Actually, let me go with a trimetric. There we go. And then what I want is I want to be able to have all of these frame members listed along with a cut length. That'd be pretty cool if we could do that, right? Well, of course we can. I'm going to add a parts list. And for my purposes, I'm going to just go in here and select the structure. You'll notice I get my little window, but I'm going to go into the settings, and we could have this pre-filled out, but I want to show you all of the varieties that you have with the Structure Designer. So here's Structure Design. Look at all the variables that come with this. So for our purposes, we want cut length, but it also can give us the cap size, chamfer size, what are the miters, material thickness. You get the idea. It really lets you do everything. But we'll just go with cut length. And I'll move cut length to the bottom. And there we have it. We've got each of the pieces. We've got all of their cut length. Let me just go in here and adjust this. There, that looks a little better. Okay. So from here, we could have it auto balloon. We can really have it do whatever we need to. So it's showing me the cut lengths, and as I showed, you could do even more than that. So a really nice tool that we have in the NX Structure Designer. I'll go back to my little PowerPoint. So just some of the benefits. It saves us about 60% of our time on the design. We can make our frames in minutes. Really, it didn't even take minutes. This whole webinar is only taken about 20 minutes. And then we can reuse these frames again and again. If you have any questions, you can type them into the GoToWebinar Dialog Box, or my email address is going to pop up here in a minute, and then you can send me emails there. I want to remind everyone, please mark your calendars. We do these Turk tips and tricks typically about NX, on the 4th Tuesday of each month. Also, is there a subject that you would like to see? Well then, let me know. I want to give my thanks to Tim Loney at Paramount Tool and Die, because he gave us a suggestion for Turk's Tips and Tricks, and we used it. So thanks, Tim. And we sent him a pair of the good old nerd glasses for doing that. If you have something that you would like to see on an upcoming webinar, and you want to get a pair of these really cool glasses, then just send me an email, dan.turk@goplm.com. At this time, I'd like to thank all of you for your time and for your attention. We've got this little QR code. You can scan it to learn more. You can email me, or you can email us at solutions@goplm.net. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and as always, stay safe.